everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a true honour to be able to start the channel and to be able to be here and cook for you today. Now you may have read that I've started the channel in celebration of the 10-year trademark anniversary of my last business, selectorchoc.com. Now this was a family business where we used to sell lovely treats on the weekends for so many customers, mostly down at the Newton Abbot Market in Devon, and that's where we originate from. And I decided, as it's the 10-year trademark anniversary, I am going to bring all the recipes to you so that you too can cook all these delicious treats for you and your loved ones. Now, the most difficult decision for me is which recipe do I reveal first? So after a lot of thought, I decided why not give you the most popular treat that we used to serve on the market stall, and that was the triple chocolate brownie. So what I'm going to do next is show you all the list of ingredients that you will need and also the actual equipment that you'll need too. If you look down below, you will see I've put a PDF version of the recipe so that if you want to print that out at a later date, you can, or you can screenshot the next menu coming up, which will tell you exactly what you need. So I'm going to go and grab my apron. I will see you guys in a moment. So the first thing you're going to do is bring a large pot of water to the boil. You're going to fill that about halfway or just under. And what we're going to do here is we're going to turn that down now to a simmer. And we're going to place a glass bowl on top. Be very, very careful because the steam is extremely hot. Now into that we're going to place our butter and our dark chocolate. So there we have our 370 grams of butter. Oh, be careful. And now we're going to put in the chocolate as well. Just the dark chocolate at this point. There we are. We'll put into the butter, which is already melting really well, the dark chocolate chips. Here he is again. Right on cue. You've had two snacks. If I give you any more, you're going to be in trouble. Anyway, we're going to stir those two together and they will form a lovely, shiny, chocolatey base. So in no time at all, you will see that is melting. Now the most important thing you want to do is keep that water level no higher than there, because if any water gets into this, it will ruin the base. So we're going to keep going with that. Now when you're making these, you may well think, woof, this doesn't seem to be coming together, but as you can see, it does in the end. You just got to keep giving it a stir. So we're actually almost there now, but always give it a very good last stir, just so that you don't have any lumps of butter. And remember, keep that temperature low as well, because we're going to have to cool this mixture now, ready for it to join the next part of the recipe. You are now going to slowly lift your chocolatey buttery mixture out of the hot pan. Please be very, very careful of your fingers and your wrists because steam can really give you a nasty burn. So we're going to leave that now to cool for at least 30 minutes. Now what you're going to do is you're going to set your oven to around 175 degrees. I will also put the other measurements as well so that you know what to set your oven to. And the next thing you're going to do is take your 170 grams of plain flour and 80 grams of cocoa powder. And you're going to sift those together. Next, you need to break up your 6 eggs into a separate bowl. Now, what you're going to do with these, you're going to put them in your mixer along with your 400 grams of caster sugar. Now you're going to put them on a medium speed. Now this should take around 5 to 7 minutes with the average mixer. It will take you slightly longer if you're doing this by hand. You want to take it from that very bright yellow to a very, very pastel, pale, lemony colour. So there we have it. As you can see, it's a nice thick consistency. Now the next step is to take your chocolatey, buttery mixture. That is definitely cooled. You can see it's cooled, look, because it's started to solidify. So there we have our lovely silky chocolatey mixture, and next we're going to add in our dry ingredients. We're going to add in our cocoa powder and our 175 grams of flour, and of course it was 80 grams of cocoa. There we go. So we're going to stick that in. We're going to put it back in the mixer. Now the final part is adding in our chocolate chips. So you're going to add in your 100 grams of milk chocolate and your 100 grams of white chocolate. If you want to add a few extra ones, it won't really hurt. So, right, the reason why we're going to do this by hand is if we put them in the mixer, they're going to break up into tiny little pieces and won't be quite as satisfying. Now the next thing we need to do is prepare our baking trays. I'm using 2 square silicone trays. So all you need to do with these is just grease them. I used butter here, but sometimes I'll use coconut oil. So I'm using 2 square dishes. So I'm going to roughly put half into each tray. So we have got the mixture now evenly distributed, and we're just going to smooth off the top. And now we're going to put them in the oven. If you're like me and you're doing a double batch, or you're using 2 square trays, you want to put your shelves one at the top and one at the bottom. If you are using one tray, my advice would be to put it straight in the center of the oven, okay? That's because you'll get a much more even result. So there we have it, one at the top, one at the bottom, exactly like that. I thought I would share with you something I was thinking about earlier as I was putting the show together, and that is a memory of a customer that used to come down to the Newton Abbot market every single Saturday without fail to buy her chocolate brownie. Now this lady would walk, she wouldn't drive because she didn't have a car, and she would leave work and take that special trip out of her way just to come and support my little business and get her chocolate brownie. Well, as you can imagine, that absolutely meant the world to me at that time, just as much as all of you supporting me here today. I cannot do it without you all, so I really do appreciate you tuning in. But without further ado, we need to go and check our brownies. See you in a bit. So here we are, after just over 20 minutes now. I'm going to stick the prong in and check. Yep, those are done. I mean, my oven usually does cook things probably about 4 or 5 minutes earlier than most, so I would still suggest you check them after 20 minutes, but it may well indeed take 25. And there we have it. Look at that lovely, lovely crackly top. Absolutely glorious. That's how we want them. Nice and shiny still too. And we're going to leave those trays to cool now. Pretty much cool. Actually left them for about 45 minutes. With the silicone, should just easily pop right off when it's cool. Just like so. And then you're going to take your wire rack and just turn it upside down. Now you can cut them into whatever size portions you wish. For these square trays, I usually cut them into 9s. And the best way to cut them, and to cut them cleanly and neatly, is to stick a knife into some boiling water in a jug, and that will heat the knife and you'll get a much cleaner cut. So what you do is you take the knife once it's soaked in the hot water for a bit, and then you wipe it, and then you roughly measure out 1/3 of the way down, and look at that, that cuts nice and clean. And you will do the same again with the next piece. So roughly there. And then, as you can see, as I've just done there, I like to sprinkle on some icing sugar at the end, just to make them look all pretty. But you can decorate them with some melted chocolate or whatever you like. Well, thank you so much for joining me on my first show. It was an absolute pleasure to cook for you. I hope you enjoyed it too. Please don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and I look forward to catching up with you in the comments. God bless you all.